Thank you for listening to the Matt's Movie Reviews podcast, available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Stitcher. Also, please follow Matt's Movie Reviews on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, and Rumble. And of course, be sure to visit mattsmoviereviews.net for the latest reviews, top 10 lists, and more. Now, on to the show.
Tie game, bottom of the ninth. At bat, Rickey Hill.
Oh my gosh! What did you do? Let's go!
Rickey, I've seen you out there swinging that stick, even when you're suffering pain. But you can't play baseball. You're going to get ridiculed, and you're going to wind up with an injury that you'll never get over. God's going to give you a higher calling.
But all I want to do is play. When I swing that bat, I ain't crippled no more.
And gone, senior Rickey Hill.
He did 4 homers in one game.
Son, you might be better, but you are not healed.
Your bones are rapidly depleting. It'll be a miracle if you ever walk again.
You seen this? Major League trials.
You're going to paralyze him. I don't need you filling him full of false hope. He's my son. Rickey, baseball had to end eventually. Time to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
First time you ever talked to me like a man was to tell me to forget the only thing I ever loved.
What has gotten into you?
He's special. They said he will never walk, and he ran. How many miracles do you need?
You're playing to join the elite.
I'm one of the best hitters you're ever going to see.
A bad leg could cost a team wins and money.
It's all stacked against me.
If you don't try, you're going to die inside. I want my dreamer back.
All your hopes,
I cannot do this alone.
dreams,
It's your time, Rickey!
determination, and sacrifices have come down to this.
Hello and welcome to the Matt's Movie Reviews podcast. I am your host, Matthew Pejkovic, and this is episode number 551. Releasing August 25 in theaters across the US is The Hill, a sports drama that tells the remarkable true story of how baseball prodigy Rickey Hill overcame crippling injury and poverty to achieve his dream of becoming a Major League Baseball player. An inspiring story of faith, family, and perseverance that stars Dennis Quaid and Colin Ford. The Hill is also the latest film from director Jeff Celentano, who I'm glad to say joins me now on the podcast. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm good. You got it almost right, Celentano. But if you're mad at me, you can call me cilantro.
Well, I'll stick with Celentano because I doubt very much I'm going to be mad at you because, as I said to you,
I'm just kidding.
Prior to this, I love The Hill. I love this movie, and one of the things that I love about The Hill, and just in movies in general, ever since I saw Serpico like 20 years ago, movies introduced me to these really kind of fascinating real life people that existed or did exist. And Rickey Hill is one of them. Baseball is not my thing. I love baseball movies though. And I think The Hill joins the pedigree of the great baseball movies. And I think it's because of Rickey's story. I'm curious though, how about yourself, Jeff? How did you find Rickey's story? How was it that you came across he's kind of like just the test that he overcame to really become this great baseball player that he was, and how did it come to that you were the man to direct his life story?
Well, I'm going to echo what you said at the beginning. I was having a rough week myself, or longer even, and my brother had run into Rickey in a lobby of a hotel, not knowing him, overhearing a conversation on a phone where he was upset about not finding directors, and he not finding a director he felt was right. And my brother overheard it and said, "I'm sorry for eavesdropping, but I have the director for you, my brother." And Rickey was skeptical, and he handed the phone to Rickey and said, "Here's my brother on the phone, say hi." And my brother's very pushy in a good way. And so Rickey got on the phone and talked to me and said, "Look, I've met a bunch of people who have BS'd me, and they've told me what they're going to do. And I checked them out, and they didn't have the pedigree or the background to do it. And, what makes you think you're the guy?" And I said, "Well, I just read your script that my brother sent me, and I'm in tears. And I just absolutely love this movie. I relate to it because I grew up very similar to you. And I'm going to get this movie made." And so he said, "Well, we should meet. And I want to send you the new draft of the script." So he sent me that, and I read that, and that was even better than the first one. And we met, and I already had prepared a videotape of other movies like you just brought up, like Field of Dreams, The Natural, Remember the Titans, Rudy. And I put a whole thing together of what the movie was going to be like, basically, musically, look and feel. And he saw that, and he said, "You know what, Jeff? No director has ever done this for me." And from that day on, we just bonded. And we hit many hurdles like he did. Many other directors saying that they could do the film. Producers trying to steal it from me. They love the story. And Rickey never gave up on me because he just felt that I was very honest and true to telling his story. And I continued that making this movie. I never wanted to veer off the truth because I had it all documented. Anything that I couldn't prove or document, I wouldn't put in the film. And the only thing, I bring this up many times, is the little scene in the beginning where he hits the windshield with the rock, the little boy. Rickey did a similar thing. He hit the rock over a radio tower, but he never hit a windshield. And I wanted to introduce him to Ray in the same way that Rickey did what he did, but in a little bit more believable way almost,
Talking about, you mentioned the script a few times there. The screenwriters involved with The Hill is something like a crack team of great kind of inspirational true life story like writers. You have Angela Pizzo, who did Rudy and Hoosiers, and you had the late great Scott Marshall Smith, who put together Men of Honor and the score, and that's just to mention a couple of them. Were they, the drafts that you read, were they already involved with those drafts?
No.
Or when you got them, you brought them in and had a look at the draft and then moved on from there on?
I brought them in. I had a friend who said to me, "This movie reads a little bit like a Hallmark film. You want to make a big sweeping epic like The Natural, you're going to need a big A-list screenwriter. Who's your dream?" And I said, "Well, my dream would be Angelo Pizzo or Rudy, and that's never going to happen. We don't have that kind of money, or I don't even know him." And Carl Mazzacone said, "He's a friend of mine, and I'm going to call him up and see if he's interested. And he also owes me a favor." So Angelo read the first draft of the original draft, said, "This is an incredible story. I'm totally interested, and I'm going to do it for you and Carl." So Angelo got involved. But from that moment, once I got Angelo's pedigree on, I said to Rickey, "I'm going to bring people to the table that are on his level for every department on this movie. I'm going to surround myself. First, I'm going to watch every movie like this that's bad and every movie that's good. And I'm going to try to come up with a formula that we don't make those mistakes. Secondly, I'm going to get the best crew I could possibly assemble to make this movie a success. And not just good crew, but crew that had done movies that won Academy Awards or movies that, I don't know, I just wanted to protect myself. Funny enough, Rickey could have got a bigger director if he was thinking like I was. But once I got on, I knew that I couldn't make mistakes. I had to really put the effort out. And so Jeffrey Kirkland, who did the production design, is amazing. He did, everything from Apollo 13, The Midnight Express, Children of Men, Angela's Ashes. He's a 70-year-old British man. And he and I bonded, and people said, "You couldn't get Jeffrey on a movie. He's too big." Well, he fell in love with the script and said he'd do it. And then, the DP, Chris Kimlin, who did American Underdog, I Can Only Imagine. He did Woodlawn. He had done sports films, but he also did sports movies with a heart. And they also got released in a lot of theaters. So I felt he was the perfect guy. And then on and on from there,
The Matt's Movie Reviews podcast is brought to you by TeePublic. TeePublic is the world's largest marketplace for independent creators to sell their work on the highest quality merchandise. With over 1.2 million designs, TeePublic is sure to have something you'll love. The Matt's Movie Reviews podcast is brought to you by Amazon. The world's leading online store, Amazon is your first stop to buy a wide range of products at competitive prices with fast delivery times. Amazon is also a world-class entertainment hub that includes Prime Video, Audible, Twitch, Amazon Music, and more. Sign up with Amazon today and experience the best in online shopping and entertainment. Please support Matt's Movie Reviews on Patreon. Get access to exclusive content, request movie reviews and top 10 lists, and help support my work. Please click on the Patreon link in the description below. Something that I love about The Hill is that, for me, I'm not a baseball guy, but I love baseball movies. And there's something about baseball in the movies. It's like almost like a surreal kind of aspect to it, the magic of baseball. Where do you think that comes from in a cinematic kind of form? What is it about baseball as a sport that really adapts itself so very well to the film medium? Because to me, above any other sport that's out there, baseball to me is kind of like almost quintessential to filmmaking as it is to the sports world.
No, that was a really good thing you said, man. I've never heard that. I've heard that people love sports movies or baseball films, but baseball is like the true Americana. I mean, I wanted to create an Americana kind of feel in the 60s and 70s. I wanted that nostalgia. And the fact that this was a story about Rickey, even though I didn't want to make a sports movie, I wanted to make a movie that had baseball in it, but only a couple games. I mean, the movie's not about baseball. It's about Rickey trying to find the love of his father and get to where he wanted to go. Funny enough, it was a baseball. He wanted to play baseball. I think that baseball is a magical game. It's got something about it, which is why Field of Dreams works so well. It had this incredible spiritual kind of uplifting feeling. And I think the game itself on the diamond and the way it's designed, it's just, it makes you feel good when you watch it. There's just something about it. And the fans are like diehard fans. Football's more of a gladiator sport. Basketball is really rough and moving around too. But baseball is like articulate. And it's got a lot of passion in it when you see these guys get up there and pitch like Atani, the Japanese guy right now. I mean, it's just unbelievable that they can do the things they do. I mean, the guy hits, pitches, catches, does everything on one team. He's probably the most valuable player today. And I think that's probably one of the reasons. It's got a lot of nostalgia from back in we remember Willie Mays, we remember Mickey Mantle, the New York Yankees when they started, they're iconic.
There's another thing about the film is that it's a father and son story. It's also a story about how God gives us certain gifts, and sometimes we realize we have them, sometimes we don't. But when we do realize that we have them, it's about what do we do with those gifts. And I myself am a Christian, I'm a Catholic to be specific, and I am a true believer that people do have a purpose and they do have a talent that's God given to them. Sometimes they know it, sometimes they don't. The conflict in this film between the characters played by Dennis Quaid and Colin Ford. Dennis Quaid plays James Hill, which is Rickey Hill's father in the movie, is that Rickey is such a special and unique man in that not only was he a great baseball player, but he had a certain thing about scripture and preaching that he was really good at as well. And so there's a conflict between the two. How do you feel about the notion that God gives us special talents, that we have a purpose on this life, and that we should try to see that purpose through? Because I think for Rickey, even though he only, played baseball for a small amount of time because of crippling injuries, he knew that was his destiny and he was going to see it through no matter what.
That was a really good statement you made, Matt. I have a really good answer for you. So Rickey, I feel that one, God definitely guides you through and you should listen. I'm doing it right now. When Rickey went up there to tell Red Murph he was the best hitter, and Red Murph, kind of scared him and intimidated him, and Rickey didn't budge. He was not going to take no for an answer. I'm kind of going through that with this movie right now. This movie comes out next Friday, and 17 years of my life will be over after Friday. It'll be up or down. Who knows? But my faith is that it's going to go up because of what's happening. There's a word of mouth and there's kind of a synergy that's going on between all the people I'm talking to and the world today. that love this movie and are getting touched by it. I've had many people, I'm not making this up, tell me that changed, like you, I made your week great. Well, a woman earlier today told me that her son with cerebral palsy gave her hope watching this movie, and she meant it. And another woman came up to me at a screening in Houston at the Joel Osteen Church, Lakewood Church, and one of the biggest churches in America. And she said, my son is autistic, highly autistic, and he wants to play baseball now. So those things are making me have the faith and keep the faith, because everybody's telling me that I know that as a person of faith, keep the faith, Jeff. You have not, don't waver. Just like Rickey, you're going to have a successful movie and people are going to love it. I want to be successful. We all want success, but really the truth is I want it to be successful for what it's doing to people, number one, and two, getting back the investors who were angels that came to my aid and said, I believe in this movie, Jeff, and I'm going to risk everything. I'll tell you a funny story. Rickey says this, and you'll love this. He says, when I had degenerative spinal disease and I found out and I got signed, nobody knew it but me and my family. I kept it a secret for 5 seasons in the Montreal Expos. He was in such pain playing, but he would never show it. He took pills, anything he could do to mask it. And then finally they saw him in pain and they called him up and they cut him and they ended his career. And he cried and he was so down because he felt he was put on earth to play baseball and preach. But he felt that he was really put on earth to play baseball more than anything. And now he can't play anymore. And he said, God, why did you take this away from me? He was just heartbroken. And it took him all these years. And just last week, he kept his faith the whole time and believed in God and said, this God believes in me and is going to guide me through. I just have to have the faith, just like I'm going through right now. And guess what happened? Rickey realized that everything happened to him to tell this story to touch people's hearts and change them. That's what he realized. And that's exactly the message of the movie.
And I think it's a message that is so direct and it's also so heartfelt and it really hits the soul. And my son, Michael, he's autistic as well. He loves, it's funny, we live in Australia, so baseball's not a sport, but he loves baseball. We play baseball in the backyard. And this is a movie I want to show him because I think it's a movie that will show him that no matter the tests given to you, perseverance above all else, and just acknowledging that you have something special that's been given to you is something that's going to really resonate with a lot of people, especially these days. And for everyone listening, August 25 in theaters, The Hill. I encourage everyone out there to watch this movie in the theater, number one, because we need more movies like this in theaters, I think more than ever. Great character-driven, kind of performances, character-driven story, true life story, a story about faith and perseverance and family as well. And I really recommend people watch this movie. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And Jeff Celentano, I thank you so very much for your time today. Congratulations with the movie, 20 years in the making, sir. And I think what you and Rickey have done here is something incredible. So thank you very much for your time and congratulations with the film. I hope it does really well for you.
Thank you, Matt. And yeah, people can buy tickets at our website, which is thehillmov.com, thehillmov.com, one word. And try to get tickets on opening weekend because that's how a movie succeeds, which I just realized that recently. I didn't know that. I didn't know that when I want to go see a really great movie, it's gone. And it was because the people didn't support it that opening weekend. And if you really love the film and I just hope that they go.
Thank you for watching the Matt's Movie Reviews channel. Please subscribe for more reviews, podcast interviews, and exclusive content. Also, if you would like to request a review and support my work, please join my Patreon via the link in the description below.